Hashtag CMooney, coming to you with the latest news scoop of what I've just seen from my own very eyes today on Amazon Prime, and only seen on a few leaks on TikTok just to feel like being in the cinematic theaters. But I also got like one in my own theater room that I'm gonna rewatch it again because it was so good. And a lot of people are probably gonna say, "Yeah, I haven't covered both episode 5, 6, and especially 7, but let alone 1, 2, and 3." But I had to make this how I could jump on it for how much absolutely bang shit doctrine, underworld, over the moon, all the royal fuck that it was going on, and the freaking series finale of The Boys, season 5, episode 8. Fuck! I'm sorry. I hope I just don't get demonetized for any of that, but to just where to just even begin doesn't even have the words to fathom it. At the same time, well, maybe I shouldn't be too crazy over it. It's not like it was over the top like we thought, but I think it definitely deserves the word diabolical at the end, because in the end, he got it done. A bit underwhelming, but definitely a payoff for what was building up for 5 whole seasons. And some great heartfelt that I'm glad didn't come true. I want to first off make it for the record that all those who leaked it a day before, giving us the whole idea plot and everything, they might as well, lose their search history because how much it turned out different than we thought they would say it would. I mean, not completely off of what they're saying, but definitely lower the hype nonetheless. And want to thank King. What the frick was actually more important, different in this episode than it was in all the other 7 episodes for the extra special effects? I'm just gonna put that out. I'm putting it out there. Because I would have wanted. I thought we were gonna see like actual real superhero shit like Homelander flipping like a freaking tank over, or then spewing actually. A lot of people said, and we wanted to finally see it sure. People probably gonna mention, well, dude, he already snapped like back in season 3 with that, laserizing that one protester in front of everybody. Everybody was okay with that shit. They were, but at the same time, that's nothing. We saw him when it was going in this freaking brain the whole time, and so many times we thought he would just go beyond a berserker. All those build-ups saying he would kill millions and all that, we thought we would see that. We believed we were going to see that, but all we see as well, it started in the beginning. We're leaving off where our our dear cast, the boys, after doing a special barrier for not a spoiler, because this whole, wrap up, it's wrapping up everything that happened in this series, in this season. Frenchie, our boy, was brutally killed by Homelander, giving its life just to buy Kimiko, and she doesn't even deserve to even live, Sister Sage, and hiding in a sink, tr- uh, something in sink so Homelander can see, and we don't really see much. We do know Frenchie is bleeding afterwards and was exposed to radiation. So either way, he was fucked. And that last moment was heartbreaking. I'm not gonna lie, Frenchie did upbreak. But then they have, the little funeral out for, and they do a little service. And honestly, I can't expect not some of the sense of humor, but you think they when they were writing Frenchie's will, it could be less about so much so much fuck shit, You shouldn't have so much of that shit in it, man. And again, I am not sure whether or not it's what I'm saying in this episode of this video will not get demonetized enough for the hard censorship. I did make clear it's not for kids for what I'm saying. I did make that clear. This whole show is literally not made for kids. At least the hardcore ones. But to just be on point, we, get to have that little servons by Huey, and then later, after finally saying their goodbyes to Frenchie, they're all thinking, well, the Frenchie gave his life for nothing. Kimiko doesn't have Soldier Boy's powers, which, again, a little bit on the sidewhelming. And if it was that Soldier Boy got killed, it would have been more compelling. And worse, we don't see a post-credit. Again, following the track, following the plot. But later, after Sister Sage basically blew her, not in the pun, blew her shit, at her, she finally becomes a normie, fucking stupid like the rest of us, even though she was already kind of stupid and some of her logic and everything. But once she's finally dead, they all know it works now, and they're hoping to make it to the White House to blast Homelander, make him a normie, and Butcher does his thing. And wow, same time, that's all good, well and good. We get three things we were not promising. One, Marie Moreau. We were told she would play a big part in the final battle. But that premise in episode 7 was just a cruel tease. Just a cruel tease. I mean, what the hell, Starlight? You asked for you need your help? Just get a few refugees down the border and that's it? All those promises and Jim Villa Bear being a Homelander level threat. All just down the toilet, basically. Just going away into Canada afterwards. Just playing no part in the final battle against Homelander. And then, while we're doing all that, I want to mention that this woman had to go to straight up with Homelander. Wanted to, build him up to have it all for the idea to just having a super genocide go out once Butcher had the virus out and then everything. But, once that didn't work, and she helps with Plan B with the boys with the with chemical powers. And then she doesn't stick for any of it. And decides, she's just going to live a freaking life in Orlando? What the hell? What the absolute hell, writers? She at least needed to serve a death, or at least we need to throw a flashback to make her feel like somewhat of a character that deserves to live. Unlike some. And we gotta get back to following track with Ryan in the cabin somewhere in Russia, somewhere, I think. And then we get pretty much a parallel. I believe down in my soul it's a parallel to when that in the comics. They never made it clear to be an accurate depiction from what it was in the boys' comics to be in the show, only adaptations and stuff. But the just simply, once he knew that his father just wanted nothing to do with him, so he put it back on ice. Still upset about it with no post-credit scene. He tries again to rid with his son, even though he's probably on the cold feet with him since the little cold bleeding he got from his own old man. Finding out that he raped his mother. And he really believes it. He actually believes he can say anything and still be done. He made it clear that he's going to live forever and he can do whatever he wants, but he now wants his kid back. Man, get your ass out of here. Better yet, kill yourself for how much it gets so pathetic in the end. after he realized it was just a waste of flight for him going to, you know, out of the country. Once he gets back to the Oval Office, uh, which he's made it his new home apparently, we start to see, actually finally giving a shit between, trying to do something when he's with the old father, which is the most undercringe person I've ever met in the series. And and now he dies is so freaking sad, really. I think the worst possible sex joke to die, in the boys' period. Titanium callback. Oh my Jesus Christ. Oh, and not even more so. I'm imagining if the Catholic Church would get more on this ass than they did on the. It's right up there with when back in Fox with the whole Lucifer stuff. I mean, it's just like, what in the world? What in the literal. Right, sorry. It's just saying so much, but apparently after she does give a shit, um, she tries to talk to her battery, which she made clear she ain't gonna say shit. And then once that's pretty much on the one-sided, we see the Deep again, thinking he could be some use left after seeing how much of a wuss and bitch ass he's been this whole fucking series. And then we pretty much see that his only superpower is basically worthless now when every sea critter on the planet wants his ass dead. Completely justified, by the way. You don't need an oil spill to how much people should hate him. For most people, animals he deliberately killed, and he did accidentally. And then we just pretty much get the final drop ball on him when Homelander said the only reason he never freaking killed him is just how truly pathetic he is. And that's when you know. That's when you know your character. It's just a waste of breath. Compare this, he's even lamer than the original Super Friends Aquaman, and that's saying a lot. That says there's no words. There ain't no freaking words for that. Other I just said them. But to be on point, the boys are making their way through the secret tunnels for Maria Lowe and JFK, which is a historical kind of theory, but they have to ruin it with a 6 month. What do you expect in the boys? Only to almost get stopped. Almost get stopped after preparing everything with a rifle from the freaking spindler ceiling to being knocked out with some sonic scream and thinking this is it, this is the end of the road. Then finally, actually, with some minor we see, not even out of all the season, but now finally see that push, see that growth. She says, okay, and helps with the boys, help them escape and make sure they got it to the Oval Office. At the same time, dealing with this motherfucker should have just left. He should have just left, but he decided to stay, whomping at with the person who had the most justified reason ever on the planet to beat and nearly kill his ass before dropping his, carcass. And, though he's alive, it's already carcass to the ocean to the sea critters to finish him off. I mean, that's probably the most honestly deserved. I mean, second deserved death in the entire series, and the most sad and most pathetic one in any show or movie. Period. I mean, again, second compared to what we finally see when the final build off, the finally what's been all roads been leaning towards. After Homer gets his address that he offers oblivion to all non-believers and all that don't worship him and stuff. And we finally see the confrontation between him, Butcher, and with Psy help just to make sure he's the power and stuff. Kimiko, and then finally we're being sidetracked from this whole freaking season only popping in there to when it truly mattered, to when people remember when getting the shit rocked in. No pun intended. Ryan comes in to help in the day when he knows it's gonna go off the rails. Good on you, sport, I guess. All in the final confrontation to finally stop Homeland, which honestly take a crow, but again, no pun intended. We were just promised or expecting just a payout to his death, especially when it made him seem the most unkillable he's ever been, and he was already more freaking unkillable with giving him V1, basically making him immortal. We thought maybe they'll take a little bit more to kill him. I mean, Chemical getting Soldier Boy's powers, that's fine. And we've seen Soldier Boy taking away V1 soups before. I mean, with in episode 6 with Bombside, but Homelander was given V1 in the fetus, then mixing it up with I mean, no, mixing it with Compound V in the fetus, then mixing it with V1 in his bloodstream. You thinking, well, then, and he has to be a bit more harder. We thought Butcher was gonna use the fires in him to weaken him enough for Chemical to not only fry the V into him, but also the virus so it wouldn't spread to everybody. But no, we just basically the same old, look like a weaker version of Soldier Boy's blast. No offense, Chemical, I know you all do all that. And that still gets the job done. Apparently does the job very well, but not only removing Homelander's powers, but Butcher's weird technical cancer's powers too, which, thank God for that. And finally we get to see what it's definitely 1,000 times better than the comics. Fuck you, Noir clone. Though sad that couldn't be any reference in this. Oh, if you think about it, Ryan having Homelander's power, he's like maybe that better version of him. He ain't stronger than him, that's for sure, but he's definitely more version of him. But case in point, simply Homelander's depowered. Everybody except for Kimiko is depowered permanently. We don't even see if Ryan still has his power in him. We don't even see that. Heck, I thought. No, I'll say that in a little bit, but we finally get the payoff we've been waiting for. And no powers, no heat vision, no super flight, no super strength. But at the last desperate end, Homelander still throws hands with Butcher, which you thought it would be at least a bit more. Still, like, go at it. When Butcher and him both had superpowers during Hero Gasm, at least they both were straight up throwing hands. It was so one sided with Homelander. I mean, one jab and he's like a complete bit. I mean, didn't he go through training in his life? Did he never learn how to be a pro skill fighter? I mean, guess why would you when you be stronger than everybody else? But my God, I was so shit. It wasn't even like next level kung fu shit. It was straight up hand for hand box, and Butcher really was going well to them, and well deserved. But that's when we get into what I believe is the most pathetic, true, downright saddest, up yours at the same time earning freaking death in the entire cinema period. Homelander, building to day one, believing in his strength and absolute, and being nothing but upper with himself. But then the moment when he finally is stripped from all of that, he starts whining absolutely like a bitch. We see him crying all, but at the same time he's lowering. He's lowering everything that he's ever done to people, and now he's that little bitch now. He is the absolute saddest piece of shit we could ever possibly see in any evil Superman period version at all, where he mentioned Why the hell would you think that would work? But you're just solving anymore. You knew this man was coming to kill you one way or the other. You think there's anything you're gonna say that's gonna stop him? Take some pride, die like the Ford Super. But no, he really didn't. I mean, he gets some ball bearing saying, you can't do this. I'm the Homelander, but that's really just a last plea. I mean, and then we get to see what is definitely better than, you know, crushing Noir's brains in the comics. Him saying, this is for Beck. Though I wanted Butcher to use the other side of the crowbar, maybe go in between his head and then crack his cranium open. But I guess just straight through the skull was good anyway. Didn't see his blood ever. Oh, yes. You can see the light ray from his eyes. Yeah, I don't care if I sound like Storefront a little. I mean, I am not any of that. I mean, I'd say that bastard definitely deserved every pain he was feeling. Though, the payoff would have been a lot better. I'm not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. And I'm not even gonna hide it. And I'm not, and I don't have to be a critic to say that. I really think people were expecting more. I mean, they're clearly rigging the show ratings. Rotten Tomatoes gives this a 99%. I give it at least 76, maybe even 69 at best. Started out pretty well in the first episode, kind of hold up well in the second. But 3 and 4, 5, minus 6, I have mixed feeling, was, complete wreck of a time. Absolute agony to go through. But finally, when all the chips are down, it was finally done. Homelander was freaking dead. And worse, all of that be on live television. My God! With the capital G, and oh my God! Being the thing that he thrown up the more to everybody with God back so mercilessly. These people who, for pretty much ever since, well, I think since season 3, scared to the ever living soul seeing this man. Now seeing him so weak, so whiny, so pathetic. Everybody is basically Queen Maeve right now. Just freaking pitying him. Truly pitying, that is the worst way. And that is why I believe his death was so much worse than the Deep. Truly. Unequivocally worse. And well deserved too. And just after all that, after all of that, we finally see, aftermath. And we thought actually had some character growth and everything, but the bitch thought he could still be the president of the United States? Hell no. Hell no, you know why you're not. After everything, you think that's gonna work out? You think that's freaking gonna work out? No. She deserved the book at her. I hope she's rotting in a special place. She could have changed so much, and yeah, she did finally. Last part, just to kill Homelander. But did she really think she was still going to be the president? And anywho, after all that, we get to have that special scene at the barn, which everybody's finally getting their senatorial laugh and all that. And despite all of this, people still kind of want supers. Stan Edgar gets to be CEO of Fought anymore, wherever that even means anymore. And Butcher and Ryan finally have one last heart to heart, and more frustrating still, we don't see if Ryan still has his powers or not. I think he's definitely proven he's better than his father. And if he had it or not, so be it, but I guess it's all kind of away. Now he's like, rather be born from a tragedy, he's purged himself of his father. So I get he gets the happy ending anyway. But we don't know who he ends up with. I mean, Spence, because he's not going to, nobody should spend a life alone. And he's been basically isolating himself We thought we might see Samir or Chloe again, but no, we don't even see that either. We just simply see him with Mother Milk's family. I think that was definitely him. I mean, I guess he gets to be adopted by the his family. Gets somewhat only into Butcher's promise, but you know what they should have brought back? Rachel's, Becca's freaking mom and sister, who we were introduced the day he would spend time with his aunt and maybe his grandmother, but no. No, the writers completely forgot about that. The writers of the show, no less. And what is at least a better way to go out was staying true to the comics, but still kind of sad that this is what finally led Butcher off the deep end, especially after giving his win over Homelander. There's no more rage anymore. But when he sees Terror dead, the dog, who I'm thankful God we didn't see him laser eyed like you people said he would be by Homelander. Though it would have been so funny pissing on his, you know, leg or if him being at the White House. Oh my God. Oh my God. Like some of those AI on which I respect on that. You gotta love that shit when it comes to AI. No, I don't care. I'm putting it out there, but that's a debate I made in another video. But when he sees his dog dead, just from old age, which understandable and paying respect to Bentley, what's his real name, that died, after making this final season, he finally lose all sanity and tried to still kill every soup on the planet with that fire, which wouldn't have done shit to Homelander, but I mean no, would still do shit to Homelander. We saw proof of that with Soldier Boy. He still got the virus. It still messed him up. And if it didn't weaken him, it definitely made him tanked it. He tanked it real hard and he would have been mobile, but bollocks and all that. He goes to Vought Tower to unleash it to kill every soup. And Huey is the only one. We're just grateful, honestly, I'll give to the writers. They're grateful. They didn't kill off all the boys like it was in the comics. All of them got to live a happy life, but we get to see that last showdown, ultimate last showdown that's in the boys. Huey versus Butcher. And with no powers, it's debatable since the Butcher's still taking punches. You thinking, does this motherfucker still have some powers? But despite all of that, he definitely wasn't when he got shot by Huey, which, again, not bad writing, but it would have been better to just be stabbed by heart, be stole by heart like it was in the comics. And Butcher dies knowing that Huey saved him in the end, I guess. It's poetic and all that, and then we get to see to the ending, we get to see some of the aftermath, we get to see some of the characters get their own, ride to the sunset stuff, which still kind of upset about Ryan. I would have wanted to see if he still had his powers. And still bad, but Marie didn't play a part. Definitely did play a part. And we get to see one last cameo from Supernatural and the Boys, return of Bobby Singer, which using his name in the show does not make you ask twice on that shit. Now the president, when he was originally arrested, but he got alive somehow the whole time, and now he's the president. Now he's the president, and now we get to see where Huey and Annie are now having a baby again. Which, by the way, would have been nice to see in the series, not left out, screen off of her having an abortion and stuff. But we see that ending, we see Kara, and then we see a tribute and all that, and then Mazel Tov. But we don't see one last post-credit scene. You thought there would be a post-credit scene for Soldier Boy and the whole fucking fall rising stuff. Absolute nothing. Oh no, after this long break and all that, all I can say is, was it absolute everything you could have, thought and thinking going into this last episode? Absolutely. Was it everything? Absolutely not. Was it enough? I say so. Making it the most decent finale I could possibly ever say for any, show in general, good or bad. I like to say that. I can say that with confidence. I am still kind of angry that some things didn't pan out the way we thought. I mean, no gathering of suits hovering over the White House, but you're making its way into the front edge of the White House like a bat until they have to sneak in. But was it definitely better than the comics? Or to be fair, well written? Debatable. But executed? Absolutely a bit more at least decent. And that's saying a lot since most of all the boys. But I would definitely say that this show ending earned the title Diabolical. And that's it for this. I'm #CMooney, and I'll see you soon. Peace.